నమస్కారం. నా ఈ ప్రయత్నం మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే గనక మన ఛానల్‌ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకొని, పై జాబితాలోని మరిన్ని వీడియోలను చూడటం ద్వారా మీ నైపుణ్యాలను, జ్ఞానాన్ని కూడా అభివృద్ధి చేసుకోవడానికి ప్రయత్నించండి. జై హింద్. Please like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.
We're now into the penultimate video in this range on where computers get it wrong. I will do a conclusion at the end of number 5, video 5, because as well as showing you some what I think are artistic and beautiful puzzles and positions, I want to give you some good practical advice that will hopefully help your play. Because I know just how tempting it is to rely on the computers to do everything for you. That's the kind of culture we're living in now. You know, I watch too much TV, I rely on my computer to do everything, but in order to play a good game of chess, it's really about relying on our own instincts and our own mind. Now, this video, the fourth one, is really concentrating on just 2 examples, and both of these examples could well occur in a real game situation. This first one is actually a problem, and it's been created, but I could see this position occurring often in many an ending. White is a piece up, a bishop up, but it's not so easy to win this, and this is quite a hard, I would say, study to solve. It's white to move and win, and like most of my videos, I want to give you a chance to get your teeth into solving this yourself. If you have time. I mean, okay, I'm quite lazy as well, and often I probably wouldn't pause these videos, but you know, if you want to have a go at pausing, please do. It can only help. So it's white to play and win, and I ask you to pause now if you want to. And as we continue, I'm going to take you through the process of how we're going to solve this, how I would come across working out this position in a real game situation, and how this can help you think when you're playing your own games. Well, first of all, let's imagine I'm white. So this is what I would do with white. My bishop is attacked, clearly. Now, what is my winning plan? My winning plan is to capture black's pawn on g7 and to queen my g pawn. So I need to move my king. My king is the only piece that can capture that pawn. I can also never lose my g5 pawn because, of course, it's a dead draw. I've got to bear all these things in mind. So maybe my first instinct, if I was playing, and I would not make a move until I've analysed these lines, again, even in very simple situations like this. I say simple because there's only 3 pieces, excluding kings, on the board. Even in these very simple situations, it's incredibly complex and requires a lot of hard calculation. But you should be able to work this out. And so first of all, let's go with my first instinct. This is what I'd be thinking in a game. I'd be thinking, what happens if I run my king to take g7? Am I in time? So I'd be calculating. Remember, I would not move this. I'd be using my mind to do this before playing king b4. And let's just run through this by playing the moves. We'll make it a little bit easier. King takes c2, king c4. And the reason I'm not running up the board yet is because I'm trying to, we call it shouldering, keeping the black king away. I'm keeping the force field there. But at some point, I'm going to have to move my king up. And this is the situation where my king has to move. I have to come near to the g pawn at some point. King f5. But now I'm too slow because black's king gets to my pawn in time. For example, king g3, king g6, and now king g4. And it's clear to see here that both pawns will be exchanged. The black king has caught up the white pawn. I don't know if you can remember that cartoon that went, catch the pigeon, catch the pigeon, catch that pigeon now. I love that cartoon, absolutely loved it. Well, that black king has caught the pigeon. Are there any other things that we can try here? Well, after king f5, king g3, if we try pawn to g6, we have to be a little bit careful because, again, the black king has catched the pigeon. And if you try to win by king f7, we have a position here which is a very famous position. This position it's got a very complex name. It's called mutual Zugzwang, which means whoever moves here actually loses. They're going to lose the pawn, and here white is actually losing. So let's just go back. Let's go all the way back to the start position, and we can now see that if I try running my king across, I'm not going to win. So what do I do in a real life situation? I now eliminate king b4 from my calculations, and I look for other possibilities. So what other possibilities are there? Well, from my eyes, the next most natural possibility is to move the bishop as far away from the black king as possible. So then I'd be calculating bishop to h7. Let's have a look now. Well, the black king has to try to catch the pigeon. So here it comes. And the white king has got to try to catch that little pigeon on g7. So both kings come racing across. And after king to e5, we now have a situation where white is forced to play one move. If white plays king to d7, black has a draw immediately. What is the way black can get a draw here? I'm actually not going to tell you the answer, just so you can use your own mind here, your own brain. Black to play, and black can draw here. What's the best way for black to draw? And you can discuss that in the notes below. Well, instead of king to d7, which would draw straight away, the move g6 is a better attempt. And the computer here gives this position as completely winning for white, but the computer does not understand. Black can now play into a positional draw. And this is a very beautiful idea, because it might look helpless. It might look that the white king is just coming around and taking the pawn. So what does black do? And again, pausing here is not a bad idea. Well, the only way that black can draw now is by playing king to e6. The black king is now keeping the force field away from the white king. And when it's checked away, where should the black king go? The black king should go to f8. Amazing concept, because you're banking on stalemate ideas. You want to get your king right into the corner, like some of the other examples in the videos we've seen, where it should be a draw. King e7, let's say bishop to f7, king to f8. If the white king ever approaches, stalemate, it's a draw. And there's nothing at all that white can do. Black is just going to go king e7, king to f8. If white tries to maneuver his bishop to another diagonal, the king will go to h8. For example, let's say bishop to b3, king to e7, bishop to c2. Maybe white is trying to do this so his king can move in without giving stalemate. For example, king f8, and now the king can approach. It's not stalemate because the bishop is no longer guarding g8, meaning king to g8 is possible. The white king can move even nearer. But after king to h8, it's a dead draw, because if we play bishop to b3, stalemate. If we play king to f7, stalemate. And we have a positional draw. So that is a very complex, very, very complex draw. And this bishop to h7 variation, which you may be thinking, you have to be very, very strong player to see that's a draw. Computers do not see this. I will give you the winning variation. The winning variation is the amazing move bishop to b1. And this combines principles from both of those last lines. Now, I know this is quite complex, but I'm trying to explain it as well as I can. And I'm hoping you will see the point behind this move now. The point is, if the black king comes, so let's say if the black king comes to c3, well, now our bishop is in a much better diagonal. So we can go king b5 like before, king d4, king c6, king e5, king d7. And after a move like g6 here, our king is just in time. King e7, king f4, king f6, and we win. So that's one variation. And after bishop b1, if black takes the bishop, which looks natural, we can now do a similar technique in the first variation. King b3. The king is used to soldier, I say soldier, but to stop the black king from approaching. And it's different to the first line because the black king is now on the back rank. And let's just have a look how this could go. King c1, both kings come across. And at some point, after king g1, we now play g6. The black king can come to h2, we now come to g4 because again we are controlling the black king's entry squares. King g2, and now we're winning. King f5, and our king comes across and successfully catches the black pigeon. Now, again, a very complex, very complex puzzle there, which could well occur from a real game. It just shows you, even with so little pieces, how crazy chess is as a game. There's one more example I wanted to quickly show you in this video, taken from one of the most amazing games of all time. And this is a game between Nigel Short with the white pieces and Jan Timman of Holland. Nigel Short, famously an English player who's fought for the world title before. And we're just going to pick up the position after Nigel has thrown his queen into f6 with check. Timman plays king to g8, and Nigel now uses Harry. Come on, Harry, h4. The h-pawn is trying to get to h6 when queen g7 is checkmate. So black plays h5. And now a key moment. Try this yourself. Look at what the computer is saying now. My computer here only gives ideas with like queen f4, queen g5. It doesn't even consider the amazing plan which white plays now. And the amazing plan which white plays now, in my eyes, is one of the most beautiful concepts that has ever been played. But it's a concept a computer just does not even consider. And it just shows you that human, in genius is still there, and it can still be stronger than the computer. What is the plan that Nigel used? Well, he now played king to h2, and Nigel's plan is just to bring the king to h6 and go queen g7 checkmate. An amazing plan which computers do not pick up on. Rook c8, and look, king g3. And only now does Komodo see white's plan. After rook c8, only now does it suggest king f4, but it did not see it in the original position. Bishop c8, king g5, and if bishop takes d7, king h6, queen g7 checkmate is unstoppable. But the weird thing is, if we go right back to before Nigel played this king to h2 idea, the computers which I have do not find this concept. I wonder when computers will. That would be a sign when computers may be taking a next step in a development. Will AlphaZero find this king h2 move? I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But again, like I said, I don't have access to it. Thank you for watching this video. We have one more in this range to finish off when computers get things wrong.